years. So this is definitely old footage because I am a literal grandpa.
Guess it was the summer of '74.
Literal grandpa because I had a kid when I was 16. And then I've had 3 kids with 3 different women in 3 different decades. So they're all 10 years apart. I'll be paying child support until I die. Part of the reason why I think God made me have the stroke is so I don't have any more kids, because chicks don't dig disabled dudes, and I would have probably already had somebody else pregnant by now, honestly. I'm not even gonna lie. First off, philosophy is a confession. Philosophy is a confession. Go love somebody that you don't like. Hey, what's good, y'all? Thanks for clicking on the link. WTJ Knowledge Drops back with another reaction video for you. This is another request from a subscriber on YouTube. More on that in a second. First off, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. If you are a returning knowledge nomad, I love you and I can't thank you enough for your support, and I hope you're learning to love somebody that you don't like so you can love yourself properly. If you are a new viewer, hi, my name is Wesley Travis Johnson. This is my channel, WTJ Knowledge Drops, where I react to spiritual teachers. I try to bridge the gap between Eastern and Western religion, spirituality, etc., etc. Alright, so this is a request from on YouTube. It is the oldest footage of Baba Ram Dass in Aspen, Colorado in 1976. It's a talk he gave. First time, never seen it, and honestly, before my spiritual journey here started, I maybe have heard of him in passing, but I knew nothing about him. I wouldn't have been able to pick him out of a lineup. So I'm very curious. Alright, Baba Ram Dass, 1976, Aspen, Colorado. Some of the oldest known footage of Baba Ram Dass, and it is from the YouTube channel Soundings Mindful Media. Soundful Mindful Media. Baba Ram Dass, don't copyright me, bro. We're all just trying to learn and have a little fun. Thank you. Alright, let's get into it. I'll see you guys at the end. Actually, hold on. If you're new, once my video starts, if you back out, your device explodes. So you just watch it till the end, and the returning nomads already know that, so don't back out or your device will explode. Alright, let's get it. Mindful meeting. Shout out to Dean and Dudley Evanson.
And I finally found Maharaji. Maharaji said, "What are you doing here?"
Let me go in the back.
And I finally found Maharaji. Maharaji said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Maharaji, I can't stand my impurities. You gotta save me. I just can't stand it." I said, "I'm not pure enough to do whatever it is I'm supposed to do." So he hit me on the head and he said, "You will be." Well, in guru talk, that's big stuff, you know. I mean,
very good. So this dude is he more of an entertainer than a philosopher? or is it just a good combination of both? He sounds like he's got an hour written, like a stand-up hour. But let's see where we go.
So I watched for immediate effects.
It's definitely a written hour comedy act, a stand-up special, so to speak. It's all good. Listen, I bet you it's very insightful.
But not a hell of a lot happened. And a few months later, I said, Maharaji, you promised me.
Don't.
And he pulled my beard and he laughed and he said, you will be. And a year and a half later, in '72, when he was throwing me out of India again, I said, look, Maharaji, you can't send me back to America. I'm still a mess.
You'll always be a mess. You'll always be a mess, guys. Even if you reach the highest spiritual level there is, which I believe, in my opinion, is Advaita Vedanta. Even at that point, you're still a mess. No one knows what we're doing out here, guys. We're all just freestyling it. No one knows what we're doing. We're just doing it. It's kind of weird. Alright, shut up.
And he said, here, eat this mango. So I took that mango. And there were all these other devotees around, and I wasn't going to share that mango with anybody.
Hell no, that's my mango. There's nothing better than a fresh mango.
Took that mango into the bathroom. I would have eaten the seed if I could have. I even thought if I plant the seed, I'll get more mangoes, and then I could liberate others.
Yeah,
the mango.
That's a good thing.
It's the mango. Mango Baba.
Baba Mango.
And nothing happened.
You kidding me? Nothing happened when you ate the spiritual mango, dude? I don't know. The Christians are starting to get mad right now.
But he said to me, one day I said to one of his Indian devotees, I said, Maharaji can't send me back to America.
Lock in, bro. Come on, Baba. Lock in. Oldest known footage, so it's probably relatively young in the public speaking game. But he needs to lock in.
Because I'm really liable to screw up other human beings' lives, and I don't mind screwing up my own karma. I don't want to do it, but I really don't want to screw around with other people's karma.
Speaking about screwing up people's karma, my karma was built up so bad that it almost killed me. So guys, if you're new, I know for returning viewers, I'm beating this with a dead horse, but I think it's pretty important for new viewers to just know that I've been down a very volatile path. Anyways, I built up so much bad karma, I should have died, and I don't know how I didn't. So, put out good shit in the universe, or I'm telling you, it'll come back and slap the shit out of you.
And, he's legitimizing me and then sending me into the lion's mouth, and I may screw up, and I don't really want to hurt other people.
I get where he's coming from in that scenario, but in any other scenario like that, in a job, just throw me in the fire. That's how I learn. I learn by making mistakes. You obviously can't do that when you're dealing with another human being's life. You better come in as prepared as you possibly can be, and even more than that. But yes, forgot my point. I'll remember it in a second.
And this man came back saying, Maharaji said he'd never let you do anything wrong in America.
Karma, bad karma. Do good, because the good karma will come around just as much as the bad karma. So whatever you're putting out, take responsibility for what energy you put out in the universe. That's what I say. Take responsibility of what you're putting out.
And when I came before Maharaji, I said, Maharaji, can't you see how impure I am? See, and he looks. And he looked up and down and all around.
You're pure, pretty impure. You look just like that other dude over there, and that dude over there, and the dude over there. And y'all are all the same, and y'all are all one. Impure, but very pure. Pure.
He says, I don't see any impurity. Well, he said something, and the translator said, Maharaji doesn't see any impurity.
Even though we're all a mess, we are all perfect. Don't let that being a mess thing mess with your head. You are still perfect, and you are unique, and you should love everything about yourself. And if you don't love everything about yourself, it's probably because you got hate for something else outside of your own body. Any type of hate like that is going to reflect onto how you feel about yourself. So if you don't love every piece of yourself, that's probably the reason why. I'm going to shut up.
Later I learned, by the way, all the time I thought Maharaji was saying what the translator said. This is very far out, just an aside. See? Turns out that Maharaji was one of the most foul-mouthed people in existence. He used to be known as...
So am I. If I cuss a lot and it offends you, I apologize right now, but it is a big part of my personality. Hashtag fuck all y'all.
He used to be known as Latrine Baba, and he called everybody sister fuckers, and he used to talk about us that way, but the Indian devotees didn't want to hurt our feelings, so they translate. He'd probably say, get that sister fucker out of here, and the translator would say, Maharaji says you're looking very well.
That is good. I'd be doing that too. Troll City.
It's really hard to know what the transmission was at any time and form. But at any rate, I came back to
Shout out to the original troll.
America in '72 with the clear protection that Maharaji had guaranteed I could do nothing wrong, which meant he was taking on my karma, which gave me license to do anything. You understand? And that was really the worst thing he could have said.
Yeah.
Because I would let myself go further and further out and out and out and say, well, I'll try that, because after all, it's in the moment, and he said he'd never let me do anything wrong, so...
I kind of like to know people's what people went through before they found their spiritual path. I wonder what this did, if he was an addict of some sort. My bet is that he probably was, whether it's alcohol or hard drugs. Generally, it comes with the territory of being a philosopher. Philosophy is a confession. I'm going to shut up.
It must be protected. Now, it wasn't all, it's not all quite that horrible, you know. Because what was happening to me was that the purity of the yearning of the people that came towards me, my Boston accent, towards me,
Toads.
elicited from me something that wasn't what I still was. You understand? It took out of me something more than I was.
Woo! Woo-hoo! That's a good feeling. With the baby love right on cue. Can't make it up, man. That was beautiful.
In other words, somebody would come forward who really wanted God or really wanted liberation. And that stuff in me, that worldly stuff, just couldn't function. It was like their purity of their desire was a demand upon me that pulled out of me stuff that was higher than I was.
Oh, that's so good. Damn. You know what? I did a video on consciousness, and they did a scientific study with like a guru and an MRI machine. And then they had a patient down the hall in another room, and a lot of times in another room in another building across the street. Anyways, whenever the spiritual teacher would start his spiritual practice and prayer towards the other person, a certain part of the brain of the spiritual teacher lit up, and almost instantaneously the other person, the same part of the brain. So you tell me if prayer works.
If you will, or higher than I acknowledged myself to be, because I was so busy feeling identified with my desires, with my lust, with my anger, with my unworthiness, with my all the stuff you're identifying with, for the most part. Not all of you at all moments.
Lock in, bro. Where are you going with that?
But all the time,
here we go. I love that there's a baby vocalizing in the background. Babies are pure love and joy. That's how we come in the world. That's all we know is love and play. And that's what we're supposed to do throughout our whole lives, is love and play and have fun. That's a talk for another time on domestication.
This is very interesting, by the way. I've never given this kind of a lecture in years now. There's something about the intimacy of this room that's making it into a hanging out scene for me.
That's cool. That's probably why he's a little off. He's just not used to this type of situation. But it does seem like an intimate, if it was like a concert of some sort, it would be super intimate. But I'm enjoying it so far. Hope you guys are. More comedy than anything, but I do like his spiritual journey that he's talking about. But I would like to know more about this guy pre-spiritual journey. Not to judge, but to know.
Usually I get up and I go up till I'm practically stiff, and I start in God is light, or breathe into your heart, and I just start to take us all up. And we can go up later. I mean, that's okay with me, but
Sip that vodka, bro.
You couldn't know what you're laughing at. Beautiful. But you see, I'm caught just like you're caught in the predicament that we are in the world, and we are in an incarnation, and we have babies and jobs and world and parents and karma that we're working out, and we can't sort of say, hey, just hold it, don't move until I get enlightened, because I don't want to hurt you. You got to stay in the stew and keep working, and it's impure, but what can you do? That's just the way it is.
You gotta learn on the fire, guys. It's the best way to learn. Make mistakes. I guess he's even advocating for doing it in this type of situation. Kind of just gotta freestyle it. Act like you've been there before. That's all. Just pretend that you've been there before, and everything will smooth out for you.
The only added burden that I had was that people were looking towards me to liberate them, and what a horror
Toads.
for people to look towards you to liberate them when you can't liberate yourself. It's like the statement is made in India, if you're caught in quicksand, you can't free another. Or if you're bound in chains, Ramakrishna says, you can't untie the hands of another.
That is correct science.
And I kept saying to everybody, watch it. I kept, giving a disclaimer. The management takes no responsibility. I'd say, I am not enlightened, I'm not realized, I am a teaching, I'm not a teacher. I'm full of hang-ups, I'm one of us, just talking to us. Just take.
By the way, this is me exactly. I am just starting my spiritual journey, but I have been learning for fun for the past decade, so I may seem like I have a lot of knowledge, but take it all with a grain of salt. Do your own research always. Do your own due diligence always. You can't just take other people's advice and run with it, because their perspective could have been different from their. You know what I'm saying.
Me for what it's worth. If it doesn't touch your heart, forget it. It's probably phony. Okay? And I said that every lecture. I just kept saying it again and again.
Facts. And that's the same when you're watching my videos. If I'm saying something doesn't resonate and you don't feel it in your heart, then it's bullshit probably, and you should just ignore whatever I said.
Again, and that sort of.
And correct me in the comments, please. I'm still waiting for people to make fun of me. Come on, man. I'm a fucking cripple. I can't move my left side, and there's plenty of ammunition to make fun of. So come on, I can take it. Troll me.
Got me off the
pussies.
Hook. Or sucked everybody in deeper, whichever way you want to look at it.
That's what she said.
The power of apparent honesty.
That dude's still rocking a fucking dome. He's at the point where he should just go ahead and Michael Jordan that shit. Go bald. I mean, you might as well. I mean, that sunroof's already completely manufactured.
Around 1970, what's this? This is 6.
Predating me by 5 years. So this is definitely old footage, because I am a literal grandpa.
I guess it was the summer of 74.
Literal grandpa because I had a kid when I was 16. And then I've had 3 kids with 3 different women in 3 different decades. So they're all 10 years apart. I'll be paying child support until I die. Part of the reason why I think God maybe had the stroke is so I don't have any more kids, because chicks gonna dig disabled dudes, and I would have probably already had somebody else pregnant by now, honestly. I'm not even gonna lie.
I was at Naropa Institute in Boulder, Colorado, giving a course in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, it was a great summer, there was no doubt about that. We all had a fascinating time. There was a great spark between Trungpa Rinpoche and me, and it was all like a tennis match. And
cool. Those are great conversations. It's been a while since I've had one with a male or a female, because I'm a hermit crab these days. But I do need to get out of the house, so I'll probably start calling some of you fuckers pretty soon here, because I haven't been calling nobody at all, or answering my phone, truthfully.
I understand from Rolling Stone he referred to me as an arrogant, confused charlatan going in the wrong direction.
That means you're doing something right, okay? Just because somebody's confident doesn't mean they're arrogant. Come on. They're just confident with their knowledge. And they feel like they could probably beat the shit out of you in a debate at any moment. So it's just confidence that you need to have to be the man.
That's a true mark of respect I take from you. Well, it was a pretty strange summer. And by the time I had finished it, I had decided that I had taken enough people down the primrose path.
What was y'all's favorite summer? Mine was 1996. Drop yours in the comment. best year of my life. Well, I mean the funnest year, I would say.
And I couldn't stand it anymore, and I was going to get out. It was just too heavy.
Damn.
I just felt that...
Damn. He was ready to give it up.
What had happened was...
Wasn't
You
expecting
see, I
it.
didn't understand, and I still don't understand. I had no idea who Trungpa is. But he was obviously a tantric teacher of some sort. And I couldn't quite assess how far out Tantra gets.
I feel like there's so much to learn under the Hindu umbrella. It's like amazingly a lot, I think. I feel like. And it's only because I have had zero access to it my entire life. You gotta remember, I lived the first half of my life where we had to get into a thesaurus for information. So you gotta work with me a bit.
And a lot of the things that were going on in the Institute were I was having to keep swallowing my nice Jewish middle-class righteousness and say, well, it's for the greater good, and he's just burning stuff out of people, and it's all great teaching. And it might have been, it might be, it may be well, I don't know. But I was getting uneasy because I was going beyond where my heart was clicking. It wasn't clicking for me. And I can get pretty far out when I'm working with an individual, but it's got to always click along the way now. I understand what that means. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's like, there are a lot of things that by the book you'd say, oh no, don't do that. But at some moment it'll click and it's okay to do it, while a moment later it wouldn't be all right to do it, or a moment before it wouldn't have been all right to do it.
I like that.
And the scene wasn't clicking for me.
Yeah. Well, then you gotta go.
So I decided to go back to India. I don't know why. My guru was dead.
I wish I had enough money to fly back and forth to anywhere. I don't, and I never will. Sorry, guys.
And though I intellectually said,
I would love to go and be a whatever they're called. I'd love to go and learn under a real guru, like one of the swamis, and become at the highest level that I could possibly climb to. I feel that's where I'm at spiritually. I mean, I should be dead. As far as I know, I am dead. I don't know.
Dad Schmed, where can he go? It's like he's just dropped his body. It's no big deal because
I know my first body is dead. The second part may be a little too uptight, but I think I'm just making up for being such a piece of shit the first 35 years of my life. So I'm overly honest now, and it's to a fault, I think.
In 1972, one day, I was sitting in the courtyard opposite him. He was on the other side, and there were all these devotees sitting around him, rubbing his feet. And they'd give him apples, and he'd throw them at apples, and they'd talk to them. And it was that kind of loving, bhakti, delicious, rich kind of hanging out with the guru.
I needed that experience, but I really don't want to do it in a Christian setting, where I don't care.
If you've ever been in it, you know what I'm talking about. And if you can't, it's like it's a great night by the fire where you're all cuddly. And it's really soft and loving and warm. And the only thing is, it's all connected with liberation, right? Not just sensual gratification. So it's a little different quality, but other than that, it's that same feeling of at-homeness. And the time stops and you're just in a delicious space.
Yes, I have been there before, but it's been many, many, many moons. I would like to experience it again, but I sure the hell ain't going to the woods camping or anything. I can't defend myself against any animals. So the smart thing would do is not put myself into harm's way. So I can't go off-road anymore. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys.
And I was sitting across watching all this going on and saying, boy, they're all hung up in his form. I don't really care if I never see him again. I love him. I love him tremendously. But that isn't it. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life rubbing his feet. I mean, that isn't what this is all about. I have to go beyond seeing it in him and not in me. In other words, the guru, it's called Guru Kripa, is a method of pursuing or following or devotion to the guru. But ultimately, every method is a trap, and you've ultimately got to consume the method. You've got to go beyond the method. And ultimately, the way it works is, I remember sitting with Maharaji one night, late in the afternoon. It was just sort of sunset. It was a beautiful, quiet moment in the temple. And I sat, and he was talking to me and throwing things and patting me and doing all the kind of stuff he does. And I decided I'm not going to be sucked in by it. That's like, that's the melodrama on this plane. And everybody's always sucked in by it, but forget it. I'm going to focus on my third eye, and I'm just going to meditate. Screw him. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to look. You know, I won't respond. He can throw the apples. I'm not.
I bet he threw the apple harder and more accurately and hit him in the head. Let's see where it goes.
I'm going to catch him. Nothing. So I focused on my third eye, and a minute later, this Shakti started to pour into me, and I started to go like this, and he went over on his side and pulled his blanket over his head, and he started to snore. And
that is fantastic.
Suddenly the universe started to fall away from me, and then he sat up, and he said, and I was getting stiff and going into samadhi, and he said to the translator that was there, he said, ask Ram Dass how much money Stephen makes. And I heard that. It's like the plane has just left Aspen. It's just lifting up over the mountains, and you see somebody down in the airport waving. You know, it's from that distance, that kind of thing. I heard, ask Ram Dass how much, and I thought, oh, wow, you know, where's that coming from? And I heard the...
That should happen to you guys? It does me. I get the intuition. I do. I have strong intuitions. Do you? Drop them in the comments. Let me know. Sorry, I'm just trying to fill time.
Devotees say, oh, Baba, I can't bother him. He's meditating. And he says, ask him. Never mind, he's meditating. And the guy was so apologetic, and I had to come down. You know, you got to turn the plane around, go into the landing pattern, and you finally land. And I land, and I came down. I finally said, $30,000. And then I went back up. I wasn't going to win it. And I began to see that he was like a set of infinite doorways, and that if you grabbed on the physical plane, that's what you got. And if you didn't get hung up on that, you got the astral one. You started.
I fucking love that. So you can't get caught up on the physicality, especially here in the West. We love materialism. But if you block it out, you can see the spiritual aspect of humans, which is way more important and way more potent. I love that, Ram Dass. That was good.
Meet Shiva or Hanuman or whoever, Hanuman. And if you didn't get hung up in that one, which is very...
I did a video on Hanuman also. Pretty interesting. More along the lines of like Jesus' story. So, you know, I
productive, by the way.
I don't do fiction
because
much.
It's fun to have Christ walk into the room, or, you know, Shiva dance for you, or the Divine Mother come and offer her breast or something like that. But if you can say, yeah, baby, that's fine, but that's not what I want, you know, I'm going for broke. And that too, tatwamasi, all that stuff, keep going, you know, step aside, please, here I go. You just keep going through the doors.
That's my mentality right now. Move out of my way.
And you keep going beyond guru. You go beyond the dualism, and it's a method of merging.
There's way too much hate and division right now, and I am going to try everything in my power to walk the line beautifully and get people to love each other, even though they don't like each other. That's my mission from now on. If I have to do it spiritually, I have to do it spiritually. If I have to do it materialistically, I will do it materialistically. So that means I'll slap the shit out of you.
You finally close in, and then you understand what Ramana Maharshi said when he said God, Guru, and Self are the same thing. Mm-hmm. That it's just a vehicle of love and open.
Every single thing is everything. Shout out Olin Baptiste III.
Opening And through the love of the beloved, lover, beloved, you merge. It's like an orgasm, and you merge into union, except it's not an orgasm in time, which is what our genital sexual orgasms we generally find.
That sounds fun. Come on, ladies. I know one of you guys like disabled dudes. It's probably going to be a physical therapist or a nurse or an occupational therapist. But come work with me and see what goes down.
It is something where you merge in, and then you never unmerge when you finally merge. You may be in form separately, but you are always merged. There's only one of it after that. That's what a realized being is. There's nobody there. There's just forms acting. Well, that's later.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, this dude is like, for real, real. Like, yeah, I mean, we don't fucking know. Everything is relative, okay? Your truth is not my truth. Or it could be. Depends on where we were standing when the event happened. We could have different perspectives. We can have the same perspective. We can, like, you know, whatever. I forgot my point. I'll remember it in a second.
If I promise, then I got to put into the computer to remember to close that thing, so I don't know. I used to lecture in the acid days, and I would get 6 or 7 digressions going at once.
Y'all ever dabbled? I have with LSD for sure. Mostly when I was a teenager. A few times as an adult, but more on the mushroom end as an adult. And I have still never done DMT in my entire life, and it is on my bucket list, and I would really, really love to experience it. I'm going to shut up.
And the audience would all be hanging, and I'd be hanging, whether we were going to drop one of them along the way, you know. And I remember going home one night feeling very satisfied with the evening, and in the middle of the night waking up realizing I had left one unclosed. And knowing somebody in the audience knew. You know? With all somebody knew.
You're always your own worst critic. Always. That's why it's hard to be like kind of an actor and a director and a like editor, because you're your own worst critic, so you're analyzing everything and you think you can do everything better, and the little flaws that you see, nobody else sees them. Just know that you're dope and continue.
And so as I sat looking at Maharaji across the courtyard, see, we've got 3 going now. We've got social responsibility, we've got Naropa, and we've got Maharaji in the courtyard. Okay? And the mountains, we've got the mountains going too, we've got 4. Don't be sloppy. Can't be lazy in these gatherings. You gotta work too.
That's good, I like that too. Make us work. I want to be confused. I want to try to figure something. I want to problem solve.
Whenever anybody has enough, you should go home, by the way. Okay? Because this is like hamburger or a veggie burger. It just keeps coming out and coming out and coming out, you know. I mean, it's just so much stuff, and you know what you need, and don't take more than you need. It doesn't go anywhere. There isn't an in conclusion, let me say. You know, we are. Okay. As I sat across from Maharaji in the courtyard, and I thought, I don't need him. You know, what am I doing hanging in this? I've got dysentery. You know, I've lost.
I think he's getting at he doesn't need him physically, because we're all one. You don't have to be right next to somebody to touch their heart and give them some love. I do it to people all the time, and I hope you feel it. You know who you are. All of y'all. So yeah, look past the materialistic bullshit and let's get spiritual.
40 pounds. I'm sitting here, all I'm being fed is Poris cooked in grease and potatoes, you know, and I'm rubbing the feet of this man, if I'm lucky, 5 minutes a day. You know? And here I am, I'm 40 years old. I mean, what is this? You know, like, how...
Is that really a thing? Like they make the devotees rub their feet and shit? I wonder what for. Let me know in the comments. I mean, I'm sure it's, you know, for a devotion aspect. But let me know, because it's kind of weird.
How long does this go on? Is this, you know? And I suddenly saw that the method was more far out than that. And I was ready to let go of that form of it. And I thought to myself, it really doesn't matter whether I'm with him or not. And at that moment I saw him lean over to this old Indian devotee who came running across the courtyard and got down on his knees and touched my feet, which surprised me. And I touched his feet, which is, you know, we out-touch each other's feet. And I said, why did you do that? He said, well, Maharaj, he said, go touch Ram Dass's feet because he and I understand each other perfectly. Right? He's saying, you're right, baby, don't get hung up. Don't get caught in the form.
You're ready.
And it was true. Every time I came to visit him, he always threw me out. All the other people he let hang in. I hated them. 3 months.
You were ready, bro. I mean, you were ready. That third eye was already shining that unicorn light, bro. He's telling you to go do it. He basically wants you to throw yourself in the fire and come out on the other side unburnt and blessed with tons of positive karma and positive impact in other people's lives.
He'd have me on pilgrimage, and I'd come back and I'd come in on the train at 6 in the morning. 4 in the morning the train would arrive. Indian trains always arrive in the middle of the night. You understand? And then you get a ox cart or something, rickshaw from the station, and you finally, the temple opens at 6 and you get in and you finally see him and he says, you walk in and you're home, you're at the feet of the Guru, and you fall at his feet and he says, go to Delhi.
He's probably like, oh God, man, I hate if you work in retail, like the last thing, if you're an opener, is last thing you want to see is a customer just sitting there waiting for you to open. So that's probably what he's like, bro, we just opened. You just got here. Go to Delhi. Get the fuck out of here.
My God, I just got here. You know, is there no rest?
Yeah, it's too soon. Too early, bro.
So he was dead, but I thought, well, I didn't need him anyway. But that was a bit of a head trip. You know, in my gut, I was still like working out the grief reaction and the feeling of loss and the feeling that's...
Wait, is this like a Sixth Sense type of deal? Has his guru been dead the entire time he's been talking to him in the temple?
It's a church. I guess I should...
Screw it, Baba. I got your back.
That son of a bitch has walked out on me and left me. Now that isn't fair.
Who's it not fair to? Yourself? Yeah, you need to drop that ego. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about helping others. Being in service to others, maybe. That's better a way to put it.
Even though I remembered what Ramana Maharshi said when he was dying of cancer and his arm was cancerous, and they said, Babaji, Bhagawan, you have all these powers, heal yourself. And he said, no, this body's all used up. And they started to cry and they said, oh, Bhagawan, don't leave us, don't leave us. And he said, don't be silly, where could I go? Like, all I'm doing is dropping my body. It's no big deal. I'm not going anywhere.
A lot more, it's got to be a lot less stressful. But maybe it's not. There could be like some weird spiritual world where they all go to work too and shit just because they love doing it so much being alive. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. I mean, we can send files through the air. Come on, guys, that shit's weird. We got a giant ball of fire in the sky that can kill us. That's weird. What's weird to you? Let me know in the comments. I need the engagement.
That's your problem. That's like somebody coming up to you and saying, I'm selling my Chevrolet, and you say, oh, don't sell your Chevrolet, don't sell your Chevrolet.
That's good. Analogy. Good analogy there, for sure.
So what I was doing was I was going out, and I would sit and meditate with Maharaji, and I had his pictures, and I had his pictures in my car and in my bedroom and my puja room, and I talked to him all day long, and I did his mantra, and I was just feeling his presence all the time. But he still had split, and I wasn't too sure, but it seemed okay. And
Alright, I'm not gonna pause it too much longer, but I feel like when people die, they become closer to you, like they actually become a part of you. It doesn't matter where on the planet. That's how I feel. I don't look at death. I don't get sad like a lot of people do. I don't get sad with death. I don't. And I still have a long way to go on my spiritual journey on that aspect, but I think I've already nailed that.
Felt like he was guiding me, and every time something good would go, I'd say, thank you, Maharaji, and every time anything bad would go, I'd say, it's a good teaching, Maharaji, thank you. And I had the whole game going, but it was a little bit here. It wasn't fully right here. Right? So I've now left Naropa, and I'm going to go back to India. I don't know what I'm going back for, but I figure I'll do some Buddhist meditation or something, and that'll be good. Clean up my act a bit. And I was trying, even in America, I was doing things like in the spring before I went to Naropa, I had been on tour with Allen Ginsberg raising money for Naropa. And we ended up, at one point, we were in Santa Fe. And we had a number of days before our next gig in Albuquerque. And you're not supposed to call them gigs, you're supposed to call them spiritual gatherings.
It's a gig. I feel like religion is one of the easiest ways to get money from people. That's the nicest way I can say it. Only because there's no materialistic results immediately. So it's kind of hard to, Over here, instant gratification. It's probably there too, but for us, consume and waste. That's what we do.
And we were in a sauna bath. And there was a Tibetan nun and Alan and a boy with Alan, and there were about 8 of us. I think Bhagwan Das was there, and we were all sort of lying in this bath, sauna bath, just
I wonder if he's talking about Alan Watts. They're about the same age.
Hanging out, going out in the sun, coming back into the bath.
That sounds like a fun hangout. I would maybe choose that scenario if I had a choice of somewhere to sit in on. And not because they're in pools and saunas and probably half naked. For the spiritual stuff, guys, get your mind out of the gutter.
And a telegram arrived for me saying the Rohatsu Dai Sesshin is being held at Mount Baldy in Los Angeles. This is the most difficult of the Zen sittings each year. We are holding a space for you.
Imagine still having to wait on a telegram. God damn. These kids don't know how good they got it.
It starts, which was the next day. Now, I didn't ask them to hold a space. And I thought, wow, I don't want to go sit in a Zen sesshin for 9 days. I don't think I could do it anyway. So I called them up and I said, thank you very much, but that's not for beginners, and I'm a beginner. And they said, oh no, you could do it. That was my ego saying, you could do it. And it was a girl, the abbess was a woman. And the way she said it.
That brings out the ego even more. That feminine energy. So, just FYI.
So, I was on a plane going to Los Angeles. And I arrive at the Zen place, and here I've made this sacrifice. I've left the sauna bath, flown to Los Angeles, go up to this cold mountain outside of Los Angeles, and I'm met by a guy in a black outfit with a clipboard, shaved head, and I expect, oh, Ram Dass, we're so happy you could come. I expect a little bit of ego feeding,
Now, what's your damn
Dass, Ram, you will be in bunk 6. Here is your uniform, Brother John will show you how to put it on, and you ought to be in the Zendo in 6 minutes, something like that. Okay, baby, I'll play, and I go in and I set my bunk up, and you're not supposed to look at anybody or talk to anybody. I go and sit, and they got this guy that walks back and forth with a stick, see? And most of you may know all this routine. You got to sit like this. And if you tilt, see, or if you do anything, like this, anything, he comes up to you, and he's a Korean. He comes up to you and he bows, and you bow, got you. And you put your hands down like this, and he hits you 3 times on the shoulder with his stick, which is supple, and it stings, right? And then you go over on this side, and he does 3 on that side, and then he bows, and you bow, and you go like that. 9 days.
What the hell is that all about? Did I miss something here because I'm talking too damn much? Why are they slapping each other with sticks?
Okay. Up at 2 every morning with...
That's me anyway. I go to bed at like 8 p.m. and I'm usually full sleep by like 2, 3 a.m. and I'm up out working everybody because I have to.
4 minutes to get from sleep into the Zendo. Dressed, washed, right, toileted. You can't imagine what it's like in the pitch black with all these beings in black outfits, rushing to toilets, toothpaste, Zendo, and you get in and at 2 in the morning and it's cold up there and it snowed. And your sinuses, I was getting sicker and sicker and the sinuses were draining, And so you go, and you'd hear, shh.
Shut up.
And if you did it twice, and there was a guy in the next cushion. They never beat him, see? But everybody beat me all the time. See, they took turns. We all took turns carrying the stick, and I never beat anybody because, well, I beat somebody now and then. There was always some scapegoat we all beat, I was sort of...
The bottom of the totem pole. Always the bottom of the totem pole gets it.
I was the second one of those. I was always trying to find the teacher being sloppy. That was my whole goal. If I could just find, just once, if I could get that Korean. So this guy in the next Zafu never, and you were only allowed, see, he walked in front of me when we went to breakfast. We had to walk in single file, we had to run, see. And in the night, all you'd see is his sneakers, and the sneakers were too big for him, and he kept flopping. So I spent 9 days watching these flopping sneakers, and his name was Leonard Cohen. He's a singer that you must know. And nobody ever hit him, see. Me, they were beating to a pulp. And I was getting sicker and sicker, and I was plotting how to get out of this scene. You know, I was thinking...
That's what I was thinking. Get him out of there. Once you start complaining, it's a wrap. That one little seed of doubt grows tremendously fast.
Could I have a telegram saying I'd been called away, or, you know, an emergency, or remember I had a lecture or something, and I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. 4 times a day you went in to visit the Roshi, who was this tough, squat Japanese at about 65. I've told the story, so some of you have heard it, but it's a useful story in this context. The way I got meet this guy, was that there was a gathering at a Benedictine monastery of a lot of holy beings, supposedly, at one point, a year prior to that, and each of them did his trip on all the others. There was Swami Satchidananda, and there was this Sasaki Roshi, and Pir Vilayat Khan was there, and there were Brother David from the Christians, and there was somebody from everywhere. And
what's the difference between like a Swami or a Baba and like a Guru? Just different sectors of Hinduism? Is that the case?
Shlomo Karlbach was there for the Hasids, and, you know, everybody, the teams were all represented. And there was a time when we were all sitting, Sesshin, and I was sitting next to Swami Satchidananda, and Sasaki Roshi was walking back and forth, and he'd given us the koan, how do you know your Buddha nature through the sound of a grasshopper, a cricket? Because there were crickets outside. And so when it came my turn, and we were taught how to get in and bow a certain number of times and all, and you sit down, and you sit in, you call Dokusan, you come in, you sit down, and he's got a bell and a stick, see? And doctor, how you know your Buddha nature through sound of cricket? So I knew that was the koan, see, and I'd been sitting out there waiting for my turn, thinking, now how would you know your Buddha nature? See, you're not supposed to do that, but I figured, what the hell, you know? So I concluded that the best thing to do when he asked me that was to hold my hand up to my ear, which is what Milarepa does, see, listening to the sounds of the universe outside his cave. And I figured, here is a Jewish Hindu in a Zen Buddhist scene. I'll give him a Tibetan Buddhist, and my chips and go. I can be a good yoga teacher. It's enough already for this lifetime. I don't have to do any of that. Forget it. I'm getting sicker and sicker, and madder, and more, just bored and disgusted. Finally, about the 4th or 5th day, I'm walking up to see this guy, and I haven't solved this one koan I've been given now for 4 days. And I'm standing up there, and I think, I don't give a what the answer to that koan is. Screw this whole scene. I've had enough. It's all...
We've been there. We've all been there.
And I walk into him, and I sit down, and he says, doctor, how you know? And he gives me the thing. And I say, good morning, Roshi. Like, let's cut the crap, Roshi. Good morning. Enough for it. Doctor, you are becoming a beginning student of Zen. It's always the up level, right? Well, I walked 3 feet off the ground, you know, I mean, I really made it. And the bushes were all burning, and the lights, the sky was all raining. It's called a minus satori. And in the next 4 days, I was solving koans left and right. I was just in the flow. It was just, I had clicked in. I had freaked so badly, I had flipped in. And I thought...
Momentum is a real thing, guys. If you ever have a situation where you got some good shit rolling, good momentum going, you need to take advantage of it and keep it rolling, because it's a real thing.
I'm enlightened. And it lasted about a week. It was what would be called a traumatic high. I'm getting technical in my analysis of the ways in which people get high. You can fall off a cliff and you can...
He definitely used to be a drug addict, I'm sure. I bet a lot of you guys are or were as well. What's your drug of choice? Drop it in the comments. Let me know. I need the engagement. Mine was opioids.
Do the same thing. It's a trauma that pushes you, opens you very quickly, very dramatically. But it overrides your karma, and it's still there. And the minute it gets a chance, it sneaks back in and grabs you and pulls you back down. Okay? So I was, during those periods of time, working still in myself with things like that, and they would clean up my act, and I would get clean, and then I would come back into my stuff again, and I was just going up and down, the familiar roller coaster that we all know all too well, I assume by now.
Oh yeah.
Okay. We've left Naropa.
Okay.
We're going to go back to India, because nothing's really working. It's all getting better, it's getting clearer, but it still hasn't flipped around. I'm still an unworthy phony who has moments of holiness. Okay?
What is he lacking, guys? I think it's just confidence. He is scared that he's not ready when he is ready. I mean, how many times you got to be told that you're ready before you know you're ready? But I get it. We're all weird people and we all make mistakes, and he can't get it in his head that he is ready to be spiritually effective in this universe.
I'm not a holy being, a being of the spirit who now and then falls. You understand that distinction? Okay. It's just which foot you're unbalanced on.
I fall all the time. I fell twice the other night. I fell in here, and as soon as I got up from that fall, I immediately fell again. So that's my life.
You imagine a wheel with a hub in the center, and the hub is liberation, and the wheel is the wheel of births and deaths, and your weight is on the foot on the births and deaths, and now and then, through intense trauma or sadhana, or the love of the guru or something, you can flip over and get some weight into that foot, and you get, and you see who you are, and it's all beautiful, and then you're off balance and you go back on that foot, because that's home. It's like, I ought to meditate. See, that's that one. Then later, the thing hopefully flips, and then your weight is here, and you're doing that, and you...
The law of averages. I did a video on the 12 laws of metaphysics. I think it's 12. I'll drop a link right here and let you, if you want to check it out. I'm believing he's talking about the law of averages.
You say, I ought to stop meditating and do the dishes. Right. You get that? I mean, that's the flip over, okay?
You gotta blend opposites to succeed in any situation. In any situation, you gotta take what you like and what you don't like, and you gotta blend them together to succeed.
I am now in Pennsylvania, on my way to India. I am in a very crummy motel. I am going to watch the Senate Judiciary House Committee hearings.
Goddamn.
You remember those?
Yeah, I wish we would. This is more for my U.S. watchers. Remember when we only heard from the president when he did that State of the Union speech that was and took up every channel? That was the only time we heard it from the president. Let's get back to that energy, guys. We don't need to hear every fucking thing. Just speak when you need to speak on the TV thing, and then we're good to go.
Urban's follies. And there's a thunderstorm and the electricity goes off. So I am forced to meditate. It's too early to go to sleep. It's too dark to read. It's right by a major highway. I can't walk. So I got to sit. So I might as well meditate.
You think that was a coincidence? I think it was synchronicity. He's about to have a breakthrough in this meditation process, I bet.
I start to meditate, and who should appear in my room
His teacher.
but Maharaji?
Yeah.
Very clear.
Oui.
And he says to me, in whatever language you talk in those visions, you know, in your dreams, even though he may be talking Hindi and you only understand English, everybody understands each other perfectly. It's that one. It's the language of, well, you understand.
We'll eventually be there where we don't even need to speak to each other. We'll just share thoughts. Nothing will be private anymore. It's coming.
He says to me, you don't have to go to India. Your teachings will be right here.
Cool.
And then he disappeared. The vision is so solid, and I'm by now trusting enough in it, that I think, okay, I won't go to India. So I decided to go up to New Hampshire, where I have a cabin on my father's farm, and I'll go into the woods in the cabin, and I'll just hang out until it all becomes clear. So I'm passing through New York City. I go to a chiropractor, a friend of mine. Figure I'll get aligned on the way through. I have to keep showing you I'm real. Don't get angry. It's all Leela. And there is a nice spiritual lady in New York who I have been friends with for many years. So I call her up. She teaches, she has group meetings in New York, and she works on many planes, mainly astral planes, and she has the unlikely name of Hilda. So I called up to say, hello Hilda, how are you? And she says, oh, Ram Dass, I'm so glad you called. There's somebody you must meet. I said, well, Hilda, I really don't want to meet anybody. I'm on the way to New Hampshire. I'm going to sit in a cabin. She says, you've got to meet this person. I said, Hilda, look, I don't want to meet anybody. I've had enough people at Naropa. I really want to just go to my cabin. Nice talking to you.
Peace out.
And I finish the alignment, and I go over to visit some friends for a few hours before I head for New Hampshire. And I'm sitting there, and in walks Hilda. She says, I've come over here because I heard you were here, and you've just got to meet this woman. Hilda's in her 60s. I said, Hilda, dear, I don't want to meet anybody. She says, wait, let me just call her up.
Even if it's a female, I feel him. It's nothing but trouble. All you younger guys. Nothing but trouble. Just walk your solitude path. That's going to lead you to your highest spirituality level anyways. It's always isolation. That's why Jesus went into the desert, and all the other spiritual teachers go off on their own, because it's solitude where you find yourself. You got to get comfortable in your own head, guys.
So she calls her on the phone, and she talks, and she says, Ram Dass, she says you should come over because your guru is sitting in her basement.
He's like, oh shit.
Well, though I knew all about spiritual materialism, she had me. So the next day I went over to Brooklyn. Was brought into a very middle-class house right next to a lot of other houses just like it.
That's how they are.
Brought down into a basement with a television and linoleum and very kind of garishly decorated. And there is sitting this woman. Long, long, long false eyelashes. Heavy mascara
That's how you
and
get
eye shade, shadow.
Makeup's weird, guys. I'm not a big fan of it, and filters are spooky. But natural beauty is the way to go, yeah, ladies. Even though no ladies are watching this, because my community is literally 97% dudes and 3% women.
Low dress. She looks like Gina Lollobrigida in Never on Sunday. That quality. Long dark hair down to her waist. Very attractive, but peculiar because she is sitting there in samadhi. Okay? But like, man, really in samadhi. I mean, I have a chance because Hilda says, go ahead and test if you'd like, dear. See, they're playing with me. Go ahead, dear. So I'm doing my whole routine. You go to push her and it's like a stone. It's like a marble statue. There's no life in it at all. I look, pulse, no heartbeat. You go under with a mirror, no breath, nothing, you know. Eyes roll back. Very weird. I mean, you know, of all the models you have of what spiritual teachers are going to be like, you know, you expect an old man in a blanket in the Himalayas, but what is a woman like with, you know, in Brooklyn? I mean, it's too unreasonable, you know. And she comes, finally, Hilda touches a brooch that has a mantra in it on her chest, and she finally slowly comes back down to earth, plane. She opens her eyes roll back down, she opens them and she loosens up and she looks at me and she says, I'm sorry about this language, but I've just got to be straight, and I know it's a church, but this is all concerned with God at some level. She looks at me and she says, what the fuck do you want? Now,
Like, damn,
of all the holy books I've read, so I said, so Hilda said, this is Ram Dass, dear. She says, I don't give a damn who he is. She says, does that fat man belong to you? Get him out of here. And I look over, and there is a blanket with nothing on it, of course. So I said, well, I don't know whether that particular fat man belongs to me or not, because I can't see him. And at that point, she starts to go up, and she goes into a very sort of light trance, and Maharaji starts to talk to me through her. And he talks to me about total trivia in India. Like he talks to me about where they kept the rice in the temple. Something that I would never talk about in America, that this woman would have no way of knowing about, that Hilda didn't know about, that nobody, you know, it's just that, or a little detail of a thing where a sadhu was thrown out of the temple and I protested and what I said and who walked around the corner of the courtyard, and he's telling me all this stuff, and there's no doubt at all that's who it is.
Spirituality is so dope, guys. I mean, it's doper than astrophysics, everything. Because it is everything. The only single thing is everything. Shout out Olam Batista III.
Not even a possibility that it's being hyped, because there's just no way in that one. Okay. He's got me. He said you'd receive your teachings in America.
I want to receive these teachings in America. Somebody point me to the right direction. I don't want to have to Google or ask AI. Where's the closest guru or Baba or whatever, Swami, to Austin, Texas? Tell me, let me know in the comments. Is there anybody here?
So I visit with her for a few days, and then I go up to New Hampshire, and she starts...
While we're on that represent your city where you're at and let me know in the comments. Represent that city.
To telephone me every day for maybe 3 or 4 hours a day. And these telephone calls are very extraordinary because on the physical plane is this 10th grade educated Brooklyn woman with
all the knowledge in the world.
Very crude, tough, straight Brooklynese. But as she changes levels of consciousness, her language keeps changing, and there are hours on the phone when out is pouring poetry that is so breathtakingly beautiful.
I love poetry. Let me see if I could spit some. She was the perfect shade of ethnicity, an angel from heaven that was sent to me. It seems like I've been waiting a century for our souls to link up and make history. I want to catch her eye so I can study her like a pupil, and I'm going to stop right there so I don't keep going.
That I've never read anything like it on the human plane because it's too precious to exist. It's like you can't stand it. You can't catch your breath. It's too beautiful. Just hours of it pouring out, all in beautiful, complex rhyming structure.
It's about the only way I'm artistic is with words. I'm a wordsmith. I can't draw, can't paint. Just I can act. I can do the art, the I don't know what you would call it, visual arts maybe. I'm definitely artistic with words, but not with art, with paint.
And she's starting to give me teachings. And these teachings she is reading from a blackboard that is being written on by Jethro. That's Moses' father-in-law. That push you a bit out of shape? See, I've lost about half of you by now, so you say, oh, come on now, baby. Whoa. I mean, I'm in the same position you are, you know.
Yeah, that's it. We all don't know.
Except it's happening to me.
Nice zoom in on the hands there, buddy.
That was in August.
The early days.
And I
of
visited her again in
technology.
September and again in October
Oh.
for a few days each time. December 9th, I moved to New York. She put me into a place to live, and I just surrendered my life to her.
Wow.
She was my teacher.
That is wild, y'all.
If there was one thing Maharaji said to me in the
How about that faith? I mean, this dude had some hardcore faith. He listened to what that dude was telling. He acted on it, and it's absolutely amazing to me. Follow that intuition, guys.
temples in India over and over again, he said, Ram Dass, watch out for women in gold. And
How about just watch out for women, period, guys. They are very good at taking your money from you. They're expensive. But it is fun. Until you get to where I'm at, and celibacy is more important than anything. So I can get lifted and to the highest spiritual level, and to do that, celibacy is a big part of it. I'm going to shut up. I think we're almost done here.
I'd be in the back of the temple and they'd say, Maharaji wants to see you, and I'd go running up and I'd come before him and he'd say, Ram Dass, Kanchan Kamani, women in gold. I'd say, yes, Maharaji. Jao, go away. Do this 5 or 6 times a day. It seemed bizarre to me. I mean, it just didn't seem relevant, you know? Here I am now, at the feet of this woman, long, these plastic fingernails, dark red, you know?
If he started rubbing her feet, they definitely were banging.
heavy eyelashes, gold bracelets, gold rings, big, thick ring.
What he got told, be careful of women in gold. This is it. Is it a false idol? He thinks that his spiritual teacher is speaking through her. So this is going to be a tough, let's see how it turns out.
Total, and we are spending all of our time trying to keep her on the physical plane. She's in a traditional Italian family, so her husband expects she's going to take care of the house. So you get these calls. See, she says, I'm washing the floor. I think I'm doing it all right. But she says, there's this guy standing in the kitchen. He's got 8 arms. Can I ask him to help me? Right? Or would it be an insult? See, it's like, you got to understand how complicated this is. See, because she's new at the game, see? And because how it happened to her is very bizarre. This is only a few months into her scene, see? She's not a yogi from the Himalayas in this lifetime. She's a Jewish girl married to an Italian truck driver. She's got 3 kids.
Down south here in America, we call them the Himalayas. Country as hell.
And a Cadillac. They've made it big, right? And it's a tough scene, and she's a tough woman, and she has always been like Gina, like Never on Sunday, that kind of purity quality, that kind of innocence that's tough innocence. Do you know what I'm talking about? The kind of innocence, that is, you see not in the same personality structure, but the kind of innocence you touch in somebody like Billy Budd, or in James Dean in East of Eden, or that kind of, quality I'm talking about? Can I? Mm-hmm. It's like childlike innocence, but it's in an adult neurotic pattern.
I know one woman like that, and I am in love with her. You know who you are.
Okay, but it's always still in. So she's overweight, and she decides to go to a dieting salon. And at this Jack LaLanne dieting salon, which is turns out to be her yogic teachers.
Sweating to the oldies, guys. Where my Zennials at. Even Gen X, I guess. Sweating to the oldies. What was that dude's name? Richard. What was that dude's name? Fuck. I forget. You know what I'm talking about. Sweating to the oldies.
They say to her, there's a breath that'll get you thin if you breathe in one nostril and out the other. Okay? Keep doing it. You'll get thin.
That's wild. I don't know if that's true or not, but in another reaction video I did with Sad Guru, he was talking about people being able to lose physical weight by doing certain things with your body, like actions and noises. I'm not 100% sure. I could be talking out my ass, and he could have just been saying that as a joke. I don't know. Is this true? Can you really do this type of shit?
She is a woman of great excesses. Right? If you tell her to do it for 10 minutes, she waits until her husband goes to sleep. She's made love to him. Then she goes into the bathroom, gets into the bathtub, and starts to do this breath for 5 hours. She wants to get thin like that. So. After several days of this, suddenly Christ appears in her bathroom.
Cool.
She says,
spooky.
Look, what are you doing here? I'm a Jew. But he is very incredibly beautiful, and she experiences so much bliss that all day long she can only think of how to get back to that bathtub to do this breath in the hopes he'll come again. Okay?
We all know why she was in the bathtub, and ladies, you know what I'm talking about. all of y'all do it. I found that out the easy way, really. I was in a room full of chicks, and one girl brought it up, the faucet thing, and then just like dominoes. Oh my God, you do that too? You do that too? It went like down line. Every single female there did it. So we know why she was in the bathroom so long. Got that faucet running.
You all know what that feeling is like.
Yeah.
So all day long, she's housewife, goes to bed, makes love to her husband, which they've done every day since she was 15 when they got married.
Wow.
And then runs into the bathtub as soon as the first snore starts, gets into the bathtub, starts doing the breath and waiting for Christ to come.
And gets her real orgasm.
He comes twice and he says,
That's what she said. That's what she said.
I'm only going to come one more time. Comes the third time, and
it all lines up perfectly with the faucet and all that. So this is funny.
There's a lot of other side stories, which I'm sure will in time come out, but I'm not going to tell them now because I'd like to keep something, I don't know what.
You can't give it all up in one. You got to stay mysterious. I'm going to look into this more of this guy's shit because I kind of want to know more about him. I feel like I could follow in his footsteps pretty well, except I don't know how he had so much money to travel like that. It's expensive as shit these days. I got my best friend moved to Austria, and she wants me to go so bad, and I can't afford it. There's no way. Somebody send me money for a plane ticket to Austria.
Are you tired yet? Should we go a little?
He's over it.
No. Just as long as I don't have to rush, I don't get tired. I mean, if I have to seduce you, I get tired. But if I don't, it's just like...
You shouldn't rush for anything. There's no reason to be in a rush. The universe hates when you force things. Don't force it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. The synchronicity will sync up, but you can't want it too bad.
Like a ball-bearing wheel, it just keeps going. Because I'm just reflecting with you about all this stuff. I don't understand most of it. I mean, there's not an object
He's so real about it. I mean, none of us know what the fuck we're doing.
lesson here, as I told you.
Nobody.
So she keeps meditating, and suddenly, one night, there is this fat man sitting on her toilet seat. As she describes him, he's sitting there with his tomatoes hanging out. This is my teacher. It could only happen in America.
That's true. It's a weird fucking place. Trust me, guys, it's weird here. All kinds of shit, crazy shit. You know? I'm not even gonna get into it right now. But I think it's funny that his teacher's in his bathroom dropping a deuce in a spiritual sense. It's funny.
And he won't talk to her. And she's free, because he's sitting there, and she grabs a towel and puts it over herself. She's sitting naked in the bathtub. And after...
He was definitely banging this chick. She was cheating on her husband. I would almost bet my life on it.
That every night she goes into the bathtub, taking a bath with a nightgown on. And her husband, who controls the whole scene totally, you know, Italian, Sicilian, you know, she's got to sneak the nightgown into the washing machine quick, because if he found out...
Okay, guys, spirituality is good, but if you have to sneak to do anything, just get the fuck out of the relationship. There's no need to be sneaky about it. If you're at any point where you're doing something sneaky, just fucking end it. I mean, if it's a spiritual thing, even better. Chase that spiritual life. It takes isolation, so I understand it. But yeah.
A wet nightgown, she'd have to explain, and, you know, that's all. And night after night, this fat man comes, and all he'll do is go, He's sitting there. And she finally says, look, if you don't start talking, I'm going to throw you out. I'm going to tell my husband. Jig's up. So he starts to teach her, and he's really tough. He hits her in the belly, and she sits like this, and he's teaching her all kinds of stuff.
I still don't understand the beating parts. Is it like being jumped into a gang? Like here in America, there's gangs, and like to join it, they usually like a few members of the gang beat the shit out of you, or you try to fight. They basically jump you in. Is this the initiation process? They gotta beat the shit out of you so much, but they only do it to the ones that knows that it's worthy to receive it, or maybe worthy to handle it. Maybe, I don't know.
She has no idea who he is. She's got a girlfriend who's into yoga. She's talking to her girlfriend about it. Her girlfriend says, there's somebody downtown in New York who might know. So she goes and she tells about the description of this guy, and they say, oh yeah, that's Swami Nityananda.
Oh, it's Swami.
He was Swami Muktananda's guru,
Oh, cool.
and he was also the guru of this woman Hilda. And he died in about 1964, and Swami Nityananda was a very far out guy, by the way. He was the guy, there's that lovely story I love to tell about him. He used to have roads made around between poor villages, you know, and he'd say to the workmen when they were going home, he'd say, on your way home, pick up any rock, and under the rock will be your 2 rupees. Not any other rock, just whichever rock you pick up first, right? So they go home, and they all trusted him, because in India, see, people believe in all this, because miracles are part of the fabric of life, not like it is here. So they just pick.
Yeah, no, they cut that shit out here in the West. They don't want you to have that power. Way too much power if you know you're capable of that. So, I admire you guys in India that take it as real. Not materialistic at all. Not even a freaking fiber.
Pick up a rock near their home, and there'd be the 2 rupees, and they take it home. See, but the problem was that these were all new rupee notes. So one day the police lieutenant, I guess, and his sergeant arrived, this police inspector, I guess, and he said, Babaji, I'm sorry to bother you, but he said, there's some confusion in our minds about these rupee notes, because they're all brand new rupee notes, and we don't know where they're coming from. And he says, oh, I can understand your confusion. I'll show you. Come, I'll show you where they're coming from. So he leads the inspector and his sergeant into the jungle, deeper and deeper into the jungle. And they come to a pond in which there are alligators. He walks into the pond and he calls an alligator. Alligator comes over and he opens the alligator's mouth, and he reaches in and he starts to pull out rupee notes. And the inspector freaks and the sergeant freaks, and they all run away. That's the kind of guy he was.
And then they sent him to a mental hospital here in America.
A merry prankster.
Trolling has been around since the beginning of mankind.
So she goes to see Hilda, and she sits down, and she comes into Hilda, and Hilda's been this nice spiritual lady who's lived in India for 18 years. And this gal Joya calls Hilda, and she says, I don't even know how to talk to a holy lady. And she comes over to see her, and she goes in to see Hilda, and Hilda just touches her, and Joya goes into samadhi for the first time. Okay, so that's the beginning of it, and that's only about 3 months before I meet her. And what's happening is she's going up into these high states. If you've read any of Edgar Cayce's stuff, you know how he'd go into these other planes and all this stuff would come out of him, and then he'd come back into the physical plane, and he didn't know what had happened. And there's this discontinuity between planes of consciousness. And that was what was happening. She'd go up into these planes, and then she'd come back down, and she didn't know what had happened, so she didn't get any benefit from it on this plane, you understand? But we would get this incredible benefit from all this stuff that would pour.
I think you have to believe to benefit. How about that for a catchphrase? You gotta believe to benefit, guys.
Or out of her from these other planes of consciousness. So the only way her husband would allow her to even have a candle or a holy picture was in the bathroom. So the bathroom got so that you couldn't find a space on the wall that didn't have holy pictures, and there were candles, and the kids were freaking. The 15-year-old boy, "Hey Ma, how can I bring my friends here? What kind of a weird scene is this?" You know. And
no, it is what it is.
She was having very bad trouble keeping contact on the physical plane. Like, I'd be on the phone, she said, "I'm cooking dinner." And I'd hear a strange sound over the phone.
My physical plane has been kind of depressing lately, honestly. Let me just talk real quick about my situation and before this ends. Somehow, at the beginning of last year, I was able to get a job, and a remote job that I could do while crippled. It was like a customer service job where I would respond obviously to chats, but since I couldn't type with my left, I can't use my left hand, a lot of it was copy and pasting. Anyways, somehow I kept the job for the whole year, and in November, right before a month before Christmas of last year, they let me go because of my disabilities, and they said that it was because they lost the client, that they were lying. Anyways, the place is fast growing trees. They did me dirty. I still haven't recovered from it, guys. But I kept that job for a year without being able to type, just doing it all with one hand. And at one point, I was probably their best producer. But I don't think I was following their. It was the way they handled things was just really weird. And I didn't follow along because it was stupid. Like, if a customer called in and asked to speak to a manager, you would have to fucking go into like a chat thing and like hope there was someone available to talk to him while you got this lady on hold, and you could see where I'm going. I didn't follow their what do you call it?
Oh, and I'd say, "Well, what are you cooking?" She'd say, "Just a minute." I'd see she'd be blind. This is very weird.
Hashtag fuck all y'all.
Most of the time she was outside of the physical plane, so she was seeing only through her third eye, not through these two eyes, so she'd be blind on this level.
Huh.
And it was very weird because I'd be sitting with her, she'd be driving on the Parkway in New York, like 70 miles an hour in her Cadillac, with her eyes closed. And she's watching it with her third eye from over the car.
Wow. It's like it's like a ride on top of it.
I'm pushing you, I know, but I figure I had to go through it. Why shouldn't you?
It's a scary drive.
It's too heavy. Go home. It's okay with me.
But nowadays, they're going to drive themselves, so we're going to be doing this all the time. Trying to figure out.
So I said, "There's a funny sound. What is it?" She says, "Well, I'm cooking." She said, "Just a minute, I'll tap my forehead and see." She taps her foot and she says, "I'm cooking meat." I said, "That's a good thing to be doing."
Yeah, I like meat.
Yeah. I said, "Well, let's see. It still sounds strange." I said, "Do you have a pan? Where are you cooking it? In the oven?" She says, "No, on the stove." I said, "That's good." I said, "Is there a pan?" "Just a minute." "Oh, shit." And it was like she couldn't quite, she'd almost get it together, but not quite. You see, it would just be that little thing. She just forgot the pan. Everything else was together.
It's wild.
So her husband would sit down to dinner where the table was set and she'd put on like one piece of bread because she couldn't quite get it together, or she'd order 7 roast beefs. She couldn't, she just was he was losing her ground. She had lost all her sensitivity. She couldn't feel anything on this plane at all. She never felt where she walked. She could burn herself and have no feeling. She was almost like anesthetized on this plane. And was going in every night. Now, she got a little closet downstairs that was made over, that she was allowed to be in. And she'd lock herself in there at night, and she would go into samadhi every night, and then at 5 she'd set that internal alarm clock we all had, that you've all used, and she'd then come out of it at like 5:23, get up quick, go up, get into bed with her husband. So at 5:30 he'd wake up thinking she had been in bed all night, and then she'd be a housewife as well as she could, with all us holding on to her with a telephone saying, come down, wherever you are, and her tapping her head, and the husband would leave for work at 5 minutes of 7, and at 7 we'd come in. They'd be young.
What do y'all think her husband thought for real? Like he didn't even know about it. Come on now. He was either on the same level, or she acted like a totally different person with him, which is probably the case, because we all we have different identities for everybody that we meet, whether it's a huge difference or just slight, but it's always different.
Yoga teaching, house cleaning, everything going on for about 5 hours. At 1 o'clock when he comes home, at 2 minutes of 1, we'd all scurry out of the house, and the husband would drive up, and the house would be clean, and the food would all be cooked, and we'd have her down enough to walk out and say,
it was definitely a gangbang every day.
hello, dear, and it was like, this went on. There were a few slips in the game. See, I mean, he'd take her to the dentist and she'd go stiff in the dentist chair, or...
Probably not. Sorry if I offend anybody. I know this is a spiritual video. I'm just trying to make a little humor out of it, but I know it's serious business.
She got the stigmata on Good Friday, and she had to wear a bandana because there was a dinner party, and it's like... I mean, you're hearing all these bizarre juxtapositions of things where such a being you would usually say, wow, and here it is that, hey, Ma, where's my underwear, and I'm coming, come on down. She had just been talking as Socrates had been giving me teachings, right? Hey, Ma, and there goes Socrates, and what is it? What's happening? Your son is calling you. You've got to come down. He wants his underwear. Now come down. We're all by this time totally, since we can't be around the house the hours when her husband's home, we're all on earphones at our houses, see? We've had the telephone company put in earphones because we're sitting there like 7-8 hours a day. Because her whole connection to reality of these telephones. So my life is getting very peculiar because I have to get up every morning at 5 to be at her house at 7. And the last telephone call usually ends as she goes into samadhi at 2 in the morning. Okay? So I'm functioning like for 8 months on 3 hours sleep a night. All day going.
I generally do 2 blocks of 4. I'll usually sleep from like 8 or 9 to 12 to 1, and then again from like 6 to 10 or 5 to 9. And I work in between, non-stop work. I can't afford not to. I've been procrastinating a lot lately. I don't know why.
Like this. Get there at 7, teachings all morning in which she's taking me up into higher and higher states, into samadhi states. Then I'm in a samadhi state, and I'm just getting stiff, and I'm out, and I'm in this incredible plane of consciousness, and she says, somebody comes in and says, quick, her husband's coming.
Put your pants on.
That's more worse than how much money does Steven make, because you gotta get down, get up, get out.
Put your pants on, your shoes. Make sure you got all your shit off the dresser. Yeah, that's a tough leave. No, thank you.
Get into your car and remember it's a car. I mean, first of all, start the engine and drive away. And this, you've got to understand that you've got a choice of either deciding the whole scene is totally out of control and totally insane, or this is the essence of tantric teaching. You understand the choice? Because if it's the essence of tantric teaching, you're being forced to keep it together. You're being forced to go up and down and keep the planes, and you're not being allowed, and you're constantly, and as far as some moments I'm thinking,
I haven't gone deep into Tantra yet, but I want to. If anybody can drop a link to a good video on it, I would appreciate it. I already did one on yoga. It didn't do too well. It's got like 40 views or something.
the husband and the kids don't really exist. They're all astral shades, and the whole thing has been created as a teaching, right? Right? And this is all Maharaji's dance, and there isn't any such scene. And I'm sure if I drove by here on an off day, that house there's probably a lot, an empty lot there. Something else, I don't know. It's too unrealistic from where I'm sitting.
I love this line of thinking. This is the line of thinking that manifests shit. Alright, I'm just gonna roll into the final thought here without even pausing or anything. No cuts. First take, Jake. Alright, Baba Ram Dass, first impression. I think he's a cool dude. I think he probably has been through some shit in his pre-spiritual life. I love how faithful he was to his premonitions and let go of materialistic thinking and went straight physical, and it seems like it paid out pretty well. He looks like he's doing good. I don't know anything about him. He's probably dead now, I would imagine, if he was this age in 1974. I could be wrong. Maybe he still is alive. If you're alive and you somehow watch this, sorry, bro. I think you're awesome. Anyways, good video. If you made it this far, I love you. Thank you. Hope you subscribe. Knowledge Nomads. Alright, go love somebody you don't like. And I will see you guys in the next reaction video, which will be, I don't know yet, but I have a few requests, and keep them coming in, guys. Alright, I love you. Go love somebody you don't like.